glad you guys were paying attention, I wasn't. Oh, I get the gavel. Aye, we will take a motion to open our meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Welcome to the East Bridgewater School Committee meeting of April 15th. We could stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. That would be great. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I know Ainsley's not here, so we won't have Student Advisory Council, but for public comments, I would just mention to you, you should have signed in on the clipboard that's up there, and depending on how many people we have, we typically limit that to 2 minutes, and we, as a committee, we don't respond necessarily to questions or whatever, but we'll hear you and it'll be part of the minutes. So with that, I would open up for public. Charlie, the people from Old Colony Planning are going to be here? 6? Oh, okay, great. There he is right there, okay. Any public comments? Sure, come on up. There's a microphone there, or you could sit here. I get, the microphone's kind of short. That's for short people. You can sit right over here.
And just
We just want to
remember,
make sure that EBCAM can pick you up. That's why you're near there's a microphone right there if you want to sit down.
so you just need to state your name.
School committee, for how long?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry.
How long have you been on the school committee? Who's been on the longest?
That lady right there, Ellen.
Doesn't he have to state his name?
State his name and
Yes, I'm
address.
sorry, but sir, I just wanted to try to catch you before.
I'm sorry, my name is Ken McLeod, and I live on Stone Meadow Drive.
Okay?
The reason I asked about who's been here the longest, I wanted to get an idea of what they know about the past history of the high school and the school committee and budget and the whole process. That's why I asked.
So just for clarification's sake, public comment is you're allowed to make comment, we're not allowed to respond.
Okay, well, I was just curious, that's all.
Yep.
The reason I'm here is I found out that there was a proposal to build a new elementary school.
Yes.
And I will have to say, when I heard it, I was shocked. I also had information to the fact that at the time I found out that the Finance Committee had a drop.
Oh, too close.
Finance Committee had it dropped into the lap with no prior notice, no prior discussion, no consulting at all. And when I talked to the person on the Finance Committee, I go, first reaction is why? Because you put a new roof on the school, you've done a bunch of upgrades in the school. My understanding is you put in a new heating system in the school. And I looked at it this way here. I understand you need to address the issue with handicap. Fine, you put a tower on the end of the building, you put in an elevator. I understand we've, obviously, last couple of days, we've had issues with the electrical. You redo the electrical of the school. And then you take small air conditioners, because they need AC in there, and you put them up in the corner on the ceiling on every room, because I've been in buildings where they do that in order to modify and give themselves some comfort for the students and for the people working in offices that I've seen in the past. Because they don't want to spend the money to absolutely tear the place apart, so they do that. The problem I have is that I've been here 30 years, and in the 30 years I've been here, I've dealt with the school committee on 1 or 2 occasions, but mostly with the selectmen and the former town manager who used to tell me background information of what was going on in the town that most of the people here didn't know about. All right? My problem has been the school committee, school department has had a pattern over the last 30 years of overspending the budget. At one of the annual meetings we had, I turned around to the entire audience and told them, people don't know this, it's against the law in the state of Massachusetts to overspend a school budget. Now, the state tries not to get involved because they don't want to get involved in local politics. But in in the 1980s, Whitman was taken over by the state because they filed a formal complaint. My issue has been through the years that the school committee and adhering to their budget, and I hate to say it this way, but I will, it has been a joke. They've overspent it year after year after year, And in the process, the attitude has been tough, pay for it. Now, I witnessed personally, along with my next-door neighbor, when we went to a selectman meeting a few years back, when the former superintendent was pushing for $600,000, that she needed more into the budget, and she kept pushing and pushing. And the town manager at the time, George, said, well, where are we going to, it's something we're not sure we're going to get from money from the state. She kept pushing and pushing. She was pushing for the stabilization fund or for the reserve to be used for the $600,000 she needed. Well, people don't realize that $600,000 is now in the budget for every year in the future. So when Brian, who was the head of the selectmen at the time, said very innocently, where are we going to get the money? She went off. My neighbor and I looked at each other in shock. She should have been ashamed of herself for the way she reacted. She was rude, she was arrogant, and basically told the selectmen, I don't care where you get the money, as long as you get it, we need it, we want it. And my neighbor and I, to this day, we still shake our heads when we talk about this. If the selectmen had any way to censure her, I would have, if I'd been on the selectmen at the time. It was, to me, a shameful way to have an attitude like that and go through the process of what they were trying to do, come up with a budget. I look at it and say to myself, you fix the electrical, and you redo the electrical in the building, you put up the tower, you put up elevators, you put the AC units up in the corner. Any other issues you have, maybe windows need to be replaced, but that's a hell of a lot cheaper than going out and spending $60 or $70 million on a new elementary school. And I know the reaction for people is going to be, well, the state will cover 40 or 50 million, and we'll cover 20. It's 20 we don't need to cover. The things I mentioned, the electrical, the tower, a new elevator, AC units in the corner, that would cost a few million, no more.
Sir, I do want to...
Thank you so much for your
All right.
comment. We appreciate it.
So the point is, you're against the school, the central
Right,
school
I'm
system.
against it because
Gordon, I don't think this is
because
for
of the
debate, Gordon.
prior
Okay,
pattern.
I just want to make it clear. Okay, we got your point, duly noted, and
Thank you,
it'll
sir.
be in our minutes. Thank you. Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you. Okay, any other?
Oh, hold on just one second. Sir, don't forget, because you spoke, don't forget to make sure you're signed in on the clipboard right there at the table. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Yep.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Evening.
Kurt Shippey and Amanda Castle, President and Vice President of the East Bridgewater Education Association. We understand that and we've seen on the agenda for this evening, that the beginning stages of a process for selecting a new superintendent of schools is going to be discussed and put into place. And the EBEA, the leadership team, and our members across all three schools have a statement that they'd like us to share with you this evening. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Castle.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Kurt. On behalf of the East Bridgewater Education Association leadership team, we strongly recommend the appointment of Dr. Gina Williams as the next superintendent of the East Bridgewater Public Schools. Over the past decade, Dr. Williams has demonstrated exceptional leadership as the assistant superintendent, consistently collaborating with the East Bridgewater Education Association to enhance curriculum, instruction, and ultimately student learning. Her commitment to open communication is evident in her regular engagement with the East Bridgewater Education Association representatives to address concerns, fostering respectful dialogue and effective solutions. Furthermore, Dr. Williams has been a strong partner in promoting district unity among staff through initiatives such as the Professional Development Academy, the formation of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Team, facilitating the creation of a district-wide staff handbook, and most recently through her collaborative work with the school committee to resolve a long-standing issue of a bifurcated contract during our last contract negotiations. Despite her demanding schedule, Dr. Williams has also dedicated her time to mentoring staff members, supporting their professional growth, and thereby strengthening the educational capacity of the East Bridgewater Public Schools. In recognition of Dr. Williams' established leadership, we respectfully recommend that the financial and time-related resources that would be necessary for a superintendent search committee be reinvested within the school district, and that the school committee appoints Dr. Williams as superintendent to ensure the seamless continuation of our vital work for all stakeholders in our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Want a rebuttal, Gina?
Thank you very much.
Very nicely done. Thank you. Appreciate that. Any other public comment? Very good. Okay, well, before we get into the body of our meeting today, I do want to start, unfortunately, as I think most, if not all of you know, we had a death in our student body over the last week or so, and we wanted to, I certainly wanted to make sure that we start our meeting tonight with a moment of silence, thinking about Joseph Saccone and his family and loved ones, a tragedy that every parent has to think about. Fortunately, not all of us have to deal with that, but I cannot imagine the tragedy and what they're dealing with. So if we could just take a moment and please think about Joseph and his family, would appreciate that. I thank you. And with that, we would move on to our agenda. And Dr. Williams, you want to start with the Central School Project update?
Sure. I didn't know, do you want to skip around for those guests that we have?
Oh, I don't know if they're ready. Oh, he's ready to go anyway. Oh, yes, we said 6:15, so I'm sorry. I looked up there and then and completely forgot about it. So if you're ready to tell us about the MBTA project, we're happy to hear. Sure. Yeah, sure, yep. And if you can tell Michael when you need a new slide up there. I know we have a packet as well, too, but.
I'll be working from my laptop so I can see it easier. All right, so my name is Jason DeRozier. I'm the Senior Planner for Housing and Public Engagement with the Old Colony Planning Council, OCPC for short. Going into, I'm sure as I've been presenting to the various boards and commissions in town, there are probably questions of, haven't we done this before? As you may know, MBTA Communities was on the special town meeting warrant last fall. It was voted down and not adopted due to the Supreme Judicial Court's ruling on MBTA communities in the case of the Commonwealth versus the town of Milton. They did rule it constitutional, and it provides an opportunity for towns that did not pass it to try again, to try to reconfigure districts, make changes. Of the towns where it had not passed or hadn't taken any action on it, East Bridgewater and Duxbury are, have it on their warrants for their upcoming town meetings. With that said, OCPC has been brought in to help support the town of East Bridgewater, just providing information on the zoning, where they're looking to put their district, and answer any sort of technical questions that folks might have about MBTA communities, just so that folks, when they're voting at town meeting this year, can be informed voters on MBTA communities, what the requirements are, and what the town is looking to do as part of MBTA communities compliance. So as part of this presentation, you'll hear me probably say MBTA communities in 3A. It means the same thing. MBTA communities is the name of the law. 3A is sort of the section of 40A, which is the state's zoning code, the Zoning Enabling Act for the state of Massachusetts. So it basically means the same thing, so if you hear me go back and forth. So on the next slide, you'll see the municipalities that are the towns that make up OCPC's region. We have 17 communities that are sort of South Shore or southeastern Massachusetts. The ones in the orange are our primary communities. The ones in green are ones that we support through our area agency on aging service area, which is sort of support that we provide to assisted care facilities and making sure that older adults are able to age in community within sort of those additional communities listed there. So on the next slide is a map of all of the communities in Massachusetts that are required to comply with the MBTA communities law. The ones in blue are rapid transit communities. These are ones that are serviced by rail, sort of like fast rail, subway primarily. The darker green are commuter rail communities. The somewhere between yellow and green is the adjacent communities, which is what East Bridgewater is designated as, and then the light yellow is adjacent communities. These are adjacent small towns.
Can I ask, what's the difference between West and East Bridgewater as far as adjacent small community versus adjacent community?
Yep, it has to do with housing stock, land area, and how many communities surround a particular municipality with commuter rail service. So East Bridgewater is really landlocked with 5 communities that have commuter rail service, whereas West Bridgewater has
2.
2.
Thank you.
So next slide, the requirements under MBTA communities. These are the basic requirements for East Bridgewater under the guidelines. Multifamily as of right, so the zone that's created must allow multifamily as of right at a base of 15 units per acre or no more than 15 units per acre. The district must be of a reasonable size for East Bridgewater. The minimum land area needs to be 50 acres. There can be no age restrictions or limits on unit sizes, number or size of bedrooms, or number of occupants. The one in red there, within a half mile of a commuter rail station, subway station, ferry terminal, or bus station, where possible, does not apply to East Bridgewater. So that one does not apply, which is why it's in red on that. So what is East Bridgewater's unit capacity requirements? The way that the numbers ended up working out, East Bridgewater, according to MBTA communities, needs to zone for 750 units. Now, that can be a scary number. In most cases, in many communities that are zoning for MBTA communities will never see full build-out, or even half build-out. And I could provide a list of that, if it's warranted or needed. Essentially, how the 750 units came up is they took a look at the 2020 housing units, the number of units that you have in East Bridgewater according to the 2020 census. They then took 14% of your 2020 housing units and then determined that to be your unit capacity, which is approximately 750. So that's essentially how they came up with that number. The minimum density requirement, again, is 15 dwelling units per acre for 50 acres. One common misconception about MBTA communities and the unit capacity is this is not a housing production target. There can be 0 units built as part of MBTA communities. Really, it's really focused on a zoning exercise versus a development mandate, so to speak. I know, in living in this region, I live next door in Whitman, there's a concern that if you zone for it, you'll get the development. In some cases, that might be true. In other cases, there's caveats and nuance to that. So essentially, MBTA communities is a zoning exercise. The town does not have to produce units. It just has to zone to allow housing production under MBTA communities. Next slide. It's important to note the law, again, does not require that multifamily housing be built. The law only requires towns to zone for multifamily housing so that it can be built in select areas. It does not matter what has been built, what will be built. All that matters is the underlying zoning. If anything does get built, the actual density may be far less than 15 units per acre due to constraints, wetlands, floodplains, water or sewer capacity issues, septic, so on and so forth. 3A is not an affordable housing law. There's a lot of confusion between 3A and 40B with the numbers and the letters. 40B is an affordable housing law. It does require development as part of it. MBTA communities should be sort of taken out from that and considered separately. that there's no affordable housing requirement or a development mandate as part of it. The law does not require communities to pay for any infrastructure to support housing. Those costs will need to come from the developers themselves if anything does get built. And the law does not override the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act or Title V in terms of septic. So those are still intact.
Can I ask, with regards to infrastructure, is that just physical road costs, or?
Nope, it's anything that would make development feasible. Infrastructure is a very broad term. So
Like a school's structure, right?
not quite that broad,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So on the next slide, what does 15 units per acre look like? I think sometimes, unless you're in the zoning world and sort of mapping this out on a daily basis, 15 units per acre might sound much more than what it actually is. And so this idea or concept of 15 units per acre can be an abstract concept for many people. Essentially, the way that the math works out is that you take your number of units. I'm on the next slide. Take the number of units, divide it by the total acreage of that development area, which gives you gross density. And I'm going to spend just a couple of seconds explaining that. So advance to the next slide, please. So there are two types of density within the context of zoning. Gross density refers to housing units over a particular area, which also includes public rights-of-way such as sidewalks and streets. Net density, however, refers to housing units over a single parcel. Net density is always higher than gross density. MBTA Communities is looking at gross density. So it'll be a much more targeted density than what you would see as part of a net density, which would be a greater area for development. At the parcel level, the look of 15 units per acre will vary based on the parcel size. It could mean a 3-unit townhouse on a 10,000 square foot lot, which is approximately a quarter of an acre, or a 45-unit building on a 3-acre parcel. This density does not mean high-rises will be built. In many places, the density can be achieved by allowing for a maximum height of only 2 or 3 stories. Within the zoning bylaw that the town is proposing at the upcoming town meeting, max heights are between 2.5 and 3.5 stories. There's nothing in the town bylaw that's over 3.5 stories. The following visualizations show what 15 units per acre look like on different scales. Next slide, please. So each 3 of these blocks represent 15 units per acre on different contexts. So to the far right is a much denser building than probably what would be developed under MBTA Communities, at least in East Bridgewater. This is because it's a larger building on a larger plot, larger parcel, which is how it rounds out to be about 15 units per acre. The 3 townhouses at the top left is also 15 units per acre because it's closer developed townhomes on a smaller lot, and then the one to the left there is also 15 units per acre within a different context. You have the townhomes on each of the sides with a larger multifamily building in the middle. On the next slide, it shows it within sort of a neighborhood context altogether. All of these also represent individually what 15 units per acre look like, also put in with some trees and some additional sort of spacing, just to show at the neighborhood scale what 15 units per acre could look like. Next slide, please. I'm only going to be on this one for a second, just to introduce this sort of section. I've taken a look at areas in town in East Bridgewater where you already have development that's at minimum 15 units per acre, if not exceeding it. And these are buildings that don't look out of place in town, and in many cases add to the vibrancy and the vitality of the town. And in many cases, you probably wouldn't look, you would look at it and not think that it was sort of as dense as it is. So next slide. 88 Riddell Road, you know this is one of the Housing Authority developments. It has 98 units. I apologize, I went out there the other day to take a picture of it, haven't added it to the updated slide deck, so that will be on the next round of these presentations. So 98 residential units, the parcel acreage is 7.59 acres. So at the parcel density or units per acre level, it's about 12.92 units per acre. So this is under what you would get as part of MBTA communities at the maximum 15 units per acre. On the next slide, you'll see 85 North Central Street. It's a 2-family. The residential units are 2. It's a 0.11 acreage parcel. So the units per acre is 18.36. So this is more units per acre than the Housing Authority site that we just saw, from a density standpoint. 15 North Bedford Street on the next slide. It's a mixed-use commercial with residential. It's 2 residential units on a .09 acre lot. So the units per acre is 21.48. So this one building represents a greater density than what you would get under MBTA communities. On the next slide, you'll see 693 Bedford Street. It's an apartment with 48 units. It's actually 5 units on a .24 acreage parcel. So the units per acre is 21.14. So again, this exceeds the 15 units per acre that you would get under MBTA communities. I got a couple more of these. 17 West Union Street is another one between 4 to 8 units. It's 5 units on a .21 acreage parcel, 23.96 units per acre. So again, exceeds the MBTA community's requirements. 31 West Union Street, 5 units on .14 acreage parcel, 35.97. So this one's double, more than double of what you would get on an MBTA community's sort of requirement. And then lastly is 11 West Union Street. It's also an apartment with between 4 to 8 units. It's 6 units on a 0.08 acre parcel, which represents 79.48 units per acre. So this well exceeds and it was well above the requirements of MBTA communities. So what I'm sure you all are wondering is where in East Bridgewater are we talking about? Where is being zoned? So on, let me see, where slide are they on? So 2 slides from that one is the parcel level data of the carve out of the district. There's one more slide. Yep. So this is the area that they're looking at. The Whitman Town Line's to the north. To the east is Route 18, Bedford Street. To the west is Winter Street. And then to the south is sort of, what is that? Northbridge, sort of to that lower left-hand corner. Next slide. I have the 11 parcels that are included in the proposed district. 2 of them are owned by the town of West Bridgewater. 1 of them is Hornster Farms. 3 of them are N-Star Electric. 3 of them are owned by JSC Holdings, which is the 40B development that was recently approved by the ZBA. And then 2 of them are private ownership, homeowners. So looking at this, it's hard to imagine any short-term development coming just by the ownership and who owns them. It's hard to imagine that N-Star or a homeowner or Hornster Farms is going to put up a multifamily building on their land. The next slide is the actual zoning district. So on the far left is the zoning district, the light purple, without the parcel data information. The one in the middle, including the green and the gray, those are wetlands. So those are excluded from, you can't build on those. So you can't build on the wetlands, the green area, and you also can't build in anything shaded in gray because those are wetland buffers, which also are excluded lands. And then so the developable area is what's in the darkest purple, what I will refer to as Barney purple to the far right. So next slide, and it's essentially just saying what I previously said. Much of this land is categorized as wetlands, so can't be built on. And then the last slide is just my contact information for anyone that wants it. And also, it's worth mentioning that next Wednesday, April 23rd, at 7 p.m., there will be a town forum for anyone from the public and anyone else who wants to come out to learn more about MBTA communities. There'll be a longer slideshow and an opportunity for Q&A.
Cool. And just on a top level, what's in it for us if we go along with this? What helps East Bridgewater?
Yep. So it depends on how you define what's in it for us or what's helpful. I will say, again, this is me, and I'm not speaking for the town of East Bridgewater by any stretch of the imagination, but it's cheaper. I don't know if I should use the word cheaper. There's less of a cost of complying with MBTA communities than there will be for non-complying. For non-compliance, there are a number of grants and other forms of state funding that could be at risk for non-compliance. There's also the possibility of a lawsuit from the Attorney General's office for non-compliance. Because the SJC ruled MBTA communities as constitutional, that provides the Attorney General's office with the ability to sue. Now, whether or not they're going to file lawsuits against all of the communities that are non-compliant, I'm not sure about that. Also, you know, being compliant also allows you to get certain forms of state funding that non-compliant communities aren't eligible for roadway improvements, infrastructure improvements, those sorts of things. So it's hard to say as of right now in this moment, sort of like what's in it for each, because it's community by community. However, the costs associated with non-compliance are deeper, or steeper, I should say, than compliance. Because essentially when you're complying, you're just having underlying zoning that would allow multifamily housing. You have 40B already going in that area, so that essentially is the multifamily housing, at least in the medium to short term, that would go there. And so you're providing zoning to support housing that will be going in that spot anyway, which could also be seen as a benefit.
All right, well, thank you very much. You really had your work cut out for you to get through this in 15 minutes, and you
I've done
did
a
it.
lot of these.
Well, I guess you have.
Great job.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you very much. I appreciate it.
Second this week. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay. All right, so now we will, no other public comment, that we are done beyond that. So now to Superintendent's Corner, if you can give us an update on the Central Elementary School project, Dr. Williams?
Sure. So the Building Committee held its second forum last Tuesday night for the community at Central School, where we went through the timeline of the project. And just to bring everybody up to speed, we submitted our preliminary design back in January to the MSBA. We just received comments back from them on the end of March, and we're given 14 days to respond to those comments that they made. So we worked diligently to get those responses back to them and have submitted that to the MSBA. So the next phase that we're in is preferred schematic design. This is due to the MSBA the end of May, I believe May 25th. When we submit this next phase, the prior phase, we had to determine the enrollment, and we shared with the committee that we are maintaining the same enrollment pre-K to 2. In this next phase, we will need to determine the location of the building and whether we're going with a new build or an add reno. So those decisions will be made. The committee is meeting tomorrow evening, as well as the following. We're meeting every week now. But within the next couple of weeks, we'll need to make that determination, so I'll be sure to bring that back to the committee.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
And next up under the agenda,
Yes.
you want to go?
So, Emery, if you would come up to the table here, you can bring family with you. Maybe just slide a couple chairs there.
You can have mine.
So Emery Barboza is a member of the senior class, and he's brought Mom and Dad? Great. As one of the responsibilities of the superintendent of schools, every year there is an award given to one student from every district from the Mass Association of School Superintendents, and it's award of academic excellence. It was an easy pick that you have been chosen as the student for East Bridgewater Public Schools to earn the Academic Excellence Award for the class of 2025.
Very good.
I need to share with the rest of the committee, Emory is so deserving of this award. More importantly, though, is his well-roundedness. It's not just his academics. And I'm going to try to name as many as I can, and I know I'm going to miss some. He's an athlete, soccer, track. He's a musician, trumpet. He can also sing, which I saw at Mr. EBHS. He is 2025 Mr. EBHS as well. He belongs to clubs, student senate. You hold office for NHS.
Yeah, treasurer.
And for the class, you're in Student Senate.
Yeah.
Well-roundedness, and when I ask students, because I have my own student in the class of 25, just a kind, compassionate, friendly, gets along. I could not find one single person that had a bad thing to say about you. Not that I was looking, but it just goes to show that not only do his academics stand out, but just the person he is and his involvement in the entire school environment. So I could not be more proud to give you this award, and you so deserve not only academic excellence, but really just well-roundedness and a kind person that everyone should aspire to be. University of Rhode Island
Yes.
is where he will be in the fall, and we're so proud to say that you'll be representing East Bridgewater while you're there. So, one of many awards, I'm sure, between now and graduation.
Huh?
You don't have to stay for the.
Do you want to be in it, Gina?
I'll get one of them.
All right, congratulations to you, Emery, and to your parents. Very good.
Congratulations.
So the next two things to share quickly is just to give you an overview of where we stand with ClearGov. The last time we spoke, we were talking about the strategic plan and as to whether we were going to be able to publicly display that. We had a meeting with Kyle Barker from ClearGov, and it was determined that we can get our strategic plan displayed on our website. So we're working to do that. The strategic plan leadership team are working in their subgroups right now to finalize those action items, and we'll be ready to get that displayed within the next couple of weeks.
Very good.
And then lastly is the North River Collaborative Audit. So I left on your tables the action items. I think last time we spoke, I had a meeting set up with Arturo Forrest from North River Collaborative to determine actually what will be part of the audit. I met with the administrative team. They determined some of those first objectives around attendance, addressing chronic absenteeism, but most importantly, addressing the underlying issues surrounding absences, student engagement, sense of belonging, and making sure that this is a place where students want to be, and encouraging their attendance, knowing that certainly the more they're here, the better success they have. So those are the first objectives. Also met with the Coalition for Change, and they were very interested in making sure that we continue to work with our teachers in helping them develop their skills in culturally responsive teaching. So you can see the hours that Arturo has determined, indirect hours, direct hours that he'll be actually working with staff in the district, indirect hours of time that he'll need to spend outside of the district compiling information. And then also on there, he'll be working with the task force to do some continued training so that they can help to facilitate that training for staff as well. We're still well below the approved budget, which gives us some flexibility if additional items come up as we move through the process. We have a call set up for the week after April vacation to determine the timeline. So I think I had mentioned to the committee last time, this will most likely extend into next year just because of the timing of right now and trying to get all of this in by the end of the year, I think would be too rushed, and we want to make sure that we have a comprehensive approach.
So, excuse me, Dr. Williams, so the NRC audit, I look at it as the DEI, what we started as the DEI audit, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It has a lens with our strategic plan. It's coordinated with our strategic plan, so that's why you see it's under social emotional wellness as well as instructional practices.
Perfect. Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions? Anyone else set? Okay. The next agenda, we're going to jump to the reports and discussion. The next item, since Old Colony is already presented, is really probably one of the more important things we have to do, which is to replace our superintendent of schools. And I look at this as two phases. One is we need an interim in the time period where we finalize who the long-term superintendent's going to be. So if we could get a motion to appoint Dr. Williams as the interim, that would be great, and then we can have a vote and discussion and vote on it.
Motion to appoint current Assistant Superintendent Dr. Williams to interim superintendent.
Okay,
Second?
second. Any discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. As byproduct of that, we also have to vote to authorize her to be a voting member of North River Collaborative and Reed's Collaborative in order to hold her position there and be a voting member.
Motion to appoint Superintendent Dr. Williams, voting member of Reed's Collaborative and North
North
River
River.
Collaborative.
Yep,
Second?
second. Discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Check that out. I thought for sure I was going to forget that one. Now, the next point is we have a choice to make. One is we can engage with Dr. Williams about the permanent, well, the superintendent position, long-term. The alternative to that is that we would, at some point in time, post that job and interview other candidates. I would make the motion, I don't know if I can even do that, I would make the motion that we engage with Dr. Williams for the superintendent job beyond the interim.
I'll make a motion that we, I don't know, what's the best way to describe it? I make a motion that we enter into negotiation with Dr. Williams to become the full-time superintendent.
Okay,
I second that.
second. Discussion.
I just wanted to say a couple things.
Sure.
I think echoing what the EBEA members were able to say, but watching Dr. Williams over the past couple months flawlessly and seamlessly slide into this role, and having spent time as myself on the budget and negotiation subcommittee, the amount of time that this has taken is very well deserving.
I would echo all of that, and if I was more eloquent, I'd add more to it. But certainly enthusiastically would be in favor of that. So with no other discussion, we take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
So it's 5. I know Amy is not here tonight. I'll keep her up to speed, hopefully when she's done with her trip and feeling better, I hope. But there you have it. Actually, it saved me. I realized the interim position would take you to the end of the year, and if we were going to go another route, we would add all of next year to it. But I suspect between now and the end of the year, we should be able to finish out a contract and get you where you need to be, so.
Great, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Appreciate that.
Great.
Thank you, Dr. Castle, Mr. Shippey, my other fans in the audience.
It was my pleasure to make that vote.
Yeah. And we don't have a certificate to give you like every got. We'll give you a round of applause. Great. That's good news for lots of folks. Next up, Mr. Silva he's here, is going to take us page by page through the handbook, word by word.
If that's what you would like, sure.
No, please. We'll take a vote on that.
All right.
Amazing piece of work, by the way. This is a pretty
lot of hands
impressive
make that work,
document.
So very lucky to have the help we have in the building. So Is there any way you want me to start? Or I know you had a copy
Just
in
a,
advance.
sort of an overview.
Sure.
And then any changes, even changes just in general, how you approach the handbook this year.
Okay.
Mr. Silva, before you start, I'm
sure.
sorry, I just want to ask Ellen a quick question. Can you remind me, with requesting this being here, was it so that we can look at it in comparison to policy after, or that's already been done before this?
Has not been done.
Okay, so that was the request, right? We're going to hear this today, and then there's the comparison. Okay, thank you.
Well, we need to like vote on it.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Thank you, I just needed that clarification from
So just a couple, I'll kind of highlight some of the bigger changes if that works.
Sure.
Just the front page, first and second page. We tried to mimic what they do at the Central and the Mitchell School. I think that was a request last year to have kind of a common format. So we stuck with that list of principal, assistant principal, head of student affairs. And on the next page, district leadership, we'll make sure to change that first one to superintendent tomorrow. If you go to page, just flip ahead a little bit, page 9, for example. One of the requests from the school committee was to have policies linked to sections within the document. One example, I think it was Norwell Public Schools was the example that was shared with us, and they had basically all the policies just attached as a document to the end. We thought that was kind of cumbersome, so what we did is we looked section by section to where there was policies, and we implemented those policies here. So in the electronic document, for example, it says under activities, school committee policy JJ, those are clickable links, so it'll bring you right to your website with the policies through MASC, I think it is.
This makes me very happy.
That was my goal. That was my only goal with this. So if we go to page, first big change is page 15 and 16. Once again, a lot of these changes came from requests over the last year and a half of conversations with parents that reached out to the school committee. The chemical health policy, this is kind of governed by the MIAA. We were requested to look at it and come up with a way to maybe take our policy that was harsher than the MIAA and kind of bring it down to what the MIAA standard is. Fortunate we have a partnership with Mass General Hospital, and we have a health coach, so we figured why not tie those two things together. So the MIAA policy, first time offense for chemical health is 25%. We were at 40% because we had had an issue in past years with chemical health. So we're going to go to still keep it at 40%. We're going to reduce it to 25 if a student enters into 6 sessions with the health coach. If you go to the next page, it talks about the second offense. We were at 60, MIA is 40. We're going to do the same exact thing. Go from 60 to 40 if a student chooses to do that coaching model with the health coach. So hopefully that will kind of deter some students from doing this. And there's an educational component to it as well. If you go to the next big change, page 19, it's in green. Obviously, attendance is an issue statewide. We were really fortunate last year when Tom Walsh and I came in, we were at about 21, 22% with chronic absenteeism, which is 10% or more, so it would be on the 19th absence, you are chronically absent. We went from 21% to about 13, just with kind of focusing on certain groups of students as they would get close to that number. What we'd like to bring back is in a former handbook from years ago, we used to have, you would lose credit in a particular course if you missed so many classes. The state of Massachusetts actually has a law that requires us as schools to actually give credit back if students miss a certain number of days. And with the state, they don't do semesters or years, they kind of do a time frame with months. So for the state, it's 7 and 14 are the numbers, which would equal to like a semester or a full year class. We're going to go with 6 and 14. And the reason we chose those numbers, it's the 10% rule. So we want kids to be here 90% of the time. At 6, you're 10%. On number 7, you're now chronically absent. So we would then have programs in place to help students then recover that credit back outside of the school day. Maybe it's on a Saturday after school, working with staff members to do that. That's kind of the next big one. The next change after that, if you flip all the way to page 50, is really the next big change. So on page 50, this is one that's a work in progress. We currently have early college. It's kind of we're not really sure where it is right now. We're not sure if it's coming back. State funding has changed. We're gonna strike all of this for right now. We'd like to revisit that maybe in 6 months to see what partnerships we can develop. One of the things that we've done just this year is we've developed a partnership with Bridgewater State College. They have a full-time professor that's coming here 3 days a week to teach like early childhood classes face-to-face. It was unbelievably easy to get them to come here. Professor Perry is phenomenal. We have about 14 students in the class. They'll do internships at the Central and at the Mitchell School, as well as taking those in-person classes. And that will count as a kind of a pathway or an entryway into Bridgewater State's, if they choose to go to a school like that, into their program for early childhood. So we'd like to kind of revisit that. We're not, once again, not sure what it's going to look like with funding and what have you. So if you don't mind if we table that section until another time, that would be great. The next big change is on page 54. This is something that we presented already. So this is the CD, or competency determination. So obviously the MCAS is no longer a graduation requirement. So I think a few meetings ago I had brought some information on how we were looking to do that. So that's laid out there. The number of credits, we want to revisit that, but we think that's a next year thing. We need to get through with our changes in budget this year. We feel as though we're not quite ready to add to that number yet until we can be fully staffed. The last major thing, I skipped, did I get page 19? Page 92 to 93, so right at the end of the document. Once again, trying to be in line with what the other schools are doing. We've created this table, which are all clickable links for important documents for families, kind of across the district. Some that are similar to what you would see at the Central and Mitchell School, and then specific documents here for the junior, senior high school. So once again, trying to all be on the same page if possible. And that is it.
Wow, that is really impressive. I love the links that people can just click on. It's certainly a substantial amount of work. We appreciate that. And one of the things I think that, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ellen, but one of the things we were concerned with is that technically this is an extension of our policies, and we wanted to make sure that it was straightforward, that, hey, this isn't just stuff off, just we found on the street somewhere. It's comprehensive, and it's in alignment with our policies. So I think we can certainly get any other feedback from the committee. As I mentioned earlier to you, Mr. De Silva, on page 7, the learning expectations, I'd like this to almost be totally in alignment with the vision of the graduate.
Okay.
So that again, I think that's a valuable document. I think anywhere it can show up in a relevant place, I think the better off we are. You've already answered some of my questions that I had on page 15, and then on page 29, sorry. I'm not by any means technologically savvy, but one of the bullet points in the middle of the page, the creation of a web page or a blob. Is a blob a thing? I always thought it was a blog with a G.
Page 29?
On page 29, yeah. And is there a blob? I don't know.
No, it's a blog.
Okay.
So pages 25 to 42 are the district-approved bullying guidelines. We didn't touch that at all. We just kind of skipped over that section because it had been recently approved by the school committee in the last couple of years. So we left that alone, but we can take a look in there if you want for language, by all means. But we didn't want to make any changes to that once again.
Okay.
It's already in that school committee policy, so.
And I think the only other note I had was on page 59.
Sure.
Under obligations. And and maybe it's in another spot, but I know you list out students may be given textbooks, lockers, other classroom materials. Doesn't mention computers, and I don't know if it was mentioned somewhere else, but.
No, we can, we have an acceptable use policy, but we can put that in there.
Okay.
Chromebooks, sure.
All right. And then on page 64, references the transportation guidelines and costs and all. I know we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, so that might be able to update that after after tonight. Well, that's one of the things we're talking about tonight, so. But thank you, those are my notes. Anyone else have any notes on the handbook?
Something feels so good about like a handbook. So it's how clear, you can find what you need. I don't know. I feel a little envious it's completed.
So we-
I have a lot of incomplete projects happening in my life.
We used to have, we used to have a.
I'm envying this
We used to
complete
have a
project.
physical book that was like an agenda book that had, the calendar in it, and a place for kids to put their homework and important phone numbers. And this was built into that. It's really kind of not feasible anymore, unfortunately, but.
All jealousy is coming from the table, that's all. Just jealousy that it's
There's
done.
kind of references from the old days, so.
Well, thank you, Bill, appreciate
course.
the hard work. When does this have to go final to print?
After it gets looked at with policy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, by the next meeting.
Oh, May 6th, okay, wow, all right.
Seems far more,
Peter
I
might
want it
want
off my
to,
plate, May's busy.
okay.
I guess a comment or two. Thank you very much. This is phenomenal, much needed, a lot of hard work there, so thank you very much. Things change rapidly in a rapidly changing world. I know we have some things that come down from, whether it be DESE or School Committee Association. Cell phone policy is one of those ones that we recently received some guidance on. I would like to make sure that whatever we put in our handbooks, we've reviewed and we've kind of taken into account, obviously, the guidance that's come down on cell phones. I think it's, there's probably an unpopular statement to make, but it's probably the drug of this century right now. And I don't know if collectively we're doing enough as a body to kind of rein that in. And one of my concerns is that we allow, at least at the high school level, the individual classroom teacher to determine whether or not students can or cannot use their cell phones. I think that is, unfortunately, that allows it to be a little on the gray side, and it maybe, it's almost a policy without a policy, so to speak. So I would respectfully request that we kind of review that before we go ahead and push forward. And then I don't know, do we have similar policies at the other schools with regards to cell phones? And
We have limited language about don't electronic devices, things of that nature currently.
okay. Not permitted. Okay, thank you. That's it. Great job. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you. I know it took a lot of
Appreciate
work.
it.
Yeah, this is amazing. Thank you.
Now, next up on the agenda, we're going to the Galapagos Islands. I'm looking forward to that. If someone were ever to tell me last year or any time in my lifetime that, oh, the kids are going to take a field trip to the Galapagos Islands, I'd say, okay, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, so my name is Christine Oslowski. I'm a science teacher at the high school, biology and chemistry, and I also am the advisor for STEM Club. And I had a really great time at Belize, so I was talking to a teacher who was also at that trip, and she told me all about the islands, and that really motivated me to go and plan that. So as you may know, that's where Charles Darwin made a lot of his discoveries on evolution and natural selection, which a lot of students find very fascinating. So it'd be awesome to go there and see some of the, organisms that he studied and made those discoveries, like the tortoises and things like that. So, I hope to plan it the end of June of 2026, at the start of the summer break, just because that kind of works with my schedule, I guess. And that's when their season is, like their early summer season, so it's a good time to go. It's a 9-day trip. And they do a lot of different activities. They interact with the people there in the mainland at Ecuador, and then they go to the islands and they go to Darwin's Research Center, and they see the different organisms there, like flamingos and tortoises, and They learn about the research that he did there. And then we do some snorkeling and hiking and fun activities like that. So there's a lot going on. So I heard great things, I think the students will love it. I heard it's very popular actually among Massachusetts for whatever reason, but yeah, it's a great trip, yeah.
Is this geared towards rising seniors in?
I'm opening it up for high school.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, my last trip, it turned out to just be mainly seniors, but it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So what would, if a student's a senior next year and they graduate, would they still be eligible, or is that?
I'm not sure how that works. I would think.
I think they would still be eligible.
Yeah, I would think
It's really,
so.
it's
Yeah.
all age-driven. They do student trips and they do adult trips.
Okay.
So it would still be considered a student, like a student price.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And it would be the current ninth grade class from next year as opposed to incoming ninth grade. So you would have 9 through 12 from the 25-26 school year eligible.
Yeah.
So our current eighth grade through junior class would
Yes.
be eligible.
Yeah.
Yes.
So incoming ninth,
Yes.
all the way to incoming 12.
Yep.
And I noticed nowhere on here, unless I missed it, were the costs, but those are still ahead of us, you feel?
Well, they're estimating it's right under 5,000. It is a pricey trip, but it'll be incrementally $324 per month for the students. Yeah, and that includes everything. So the flights, the food, the hotels, the tour director, the traveling and bus riding, boats, and all that stuff. So it does include everything.
I'm just curious, how does that, do you remember what the cost was to go to Belize?
It was like 4,300, something
All
like
right,
that.
so
Yeah.
it's same ballpark, but a
Yeah.
little bit more expensive.
Yeah, inflation. Yeah.
We did Costa Rica 2 years ago, a year ago this April, and it was about $3,200.
Yep.
And Costa Rica is one of the cheaper destinations.
Yep.
So it's
Okay.
reasonable, and that was a 7-day trip as well.
And so if we approve this tonight, I noticed we have a couple of field trips to approve for Central School, and it has the form. You'll fill out the school form for when you get to that point of saying, okay, here's how many kids we got going, here's who's going, okay,
Yep.
super. All right.
I think
So-
the biggest thing with these trips is opening it up, offering to students, see what the interest level is.
Yeah.
And there's minimums that you have to have. I believe,
Right.
Christine, you went with 6 kids?
Like 7.
7 kids
Yeah,
last
I
time,
mean,
yeah.
I'm capping it to 20 for this trip because I found the smaller group was pretty manageable, and it was nice to have that manageable group, yeah.
good number.
Yeah, it's a good number.
So you need a vote from us tonight just to proceed? Okay.
Make a motion to approve Dr. Ozlowski's request for a field trip to, where are we going? Galapagos Islands in the summer of 2026.
Second.
Okay. The only discussion I would add is, obviously, we've dealt with educational tours over the years, and I've heard nothing but good things. So that, to me, is what I'd look at first, like, okay, who's put this all together and who's in charge of it? So I would certainly vote in favor. Anyone else have any discussion points? Okay, all right.
Money well spent.
All those in favor?
Aye.
There you go. We're in favor.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please take lots of pictures.
Oh, I will.
Okay. Next up is a budget update from Mr. Shea.
So before the meeting, I handed out a packet for your review.
Yeah.
This shows the status of where we are in the budget process with all the budget subcommittee meetings we've had. You can see in the second column, we certified a budget of $28,390,177 based upon the numerous budget subcommittee meetings and a lot of analysis. We have been able to reduce that amount to 27,772.
27 million.
27,772,888, or a reduction of 617,000 from our original certified budget.
Are you able to share with us how you whittled it down?
Sure. On the second page, pages 2 through 5, is a summary of line items. It shows you the fiscal year '25 budget, the certified budget, and also the revised budget, and it shows you the changes that were made. I can run down these briefly. For regular pupil transportation, you can see from our certified budget, we reduced that 105,000. That's a reduction of, majority of that is a reduction of one bus from 13 to 12. You can see, not only did we make revisions reducing the certified budget, but if we found things that needed to go the other way, we made those changes also. You can see the next line item that had to change was the telephone system. In my original certified budget, I did not budget enough, so I made that change. The next item, computers and devices, I increased that budget 25,000. That's based upon conversations we had with our computer vendors regarding tariffs. Page 3, I did not make any changes to the Central and Mitchell budget. Page 4, I did not make any changes to the high school budget. When you get to special education, for sped transportation, I increased that budget by 83,000. And homeless transportation, I reduced that budget $12,500. And in total, for tuitions, I had a reduction of $286,685. Now, you might be asking yourself, why did we increase special ed transportation? That's because we made, in working with Jay, student placements change all the time, so we had a residential that moved to a non-residential. So you have a reduction in tuition, but you have an increase in transportation. On the next page, we have athletics decrease of $10,000 to that budget. So that's the non-operating side. On the non-salary side, on the salary side, the biggest change that we made is we allocated $250,000 out of the school choice account to help with the salary budget.
Is that a direct transfer, John, or do you have to move that into some other account and then move money from there? So
I would move expenses into the school choice account. So this is where I'm at now. I mean, the Finance Committee was also part of these meetings. I had conversations with Dave and Melanie, the town accountant. Dave Walsh is at Finance Committee, and Melanie is the town accountant. And we feel as though with these changes, the town and the changes provided by the other town departments, we are at a budget that balances for the town.
Great, wow. Well done. I never thought we were going to get to that point, but I'm glad we're there.
So at some point, I know it's not on the agenda tonight, but at maybe the next meeting, we'll have to vote on a new.
On a revised budget.
revised budget.
So May 4, May 6 is our next meeting. Revised budget. Okay.
That's, of course, if you agree to it.
I did want to say, I mean, having served on Finance Committee, so on the other side of the coin, this was by far the most collaborative budget process between the town and the school committee, the budget subcommittee. The involvement from the town level, Charlie and Melanie, Dave Walsh, the Finance Committee Chair, attending every one of our budget subcommittee meetings and working with us to come up with creative ways to lessen the financial burden on the town. It was a great process to go through.
Oh, I would certainly echo that. And I think one of the things that stood out for me, not only the collaborative piece, but in Dave's case in particular, where he listened to what the challenges were. I mean, we can all look at a number and say that number's too high, but he listened to what it was we were contending with, and understood that process and tried to help us with that. I thought made all the difference in the world. That was very helpful.
Yep, very appreciative of Dave's efforts and recognition of unfunded mandates that were impactful to this year's budget.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would even extend it, one of the things, not on our agenda, but I could mention that we have a tentative agreement with the teachers union, the EBCAM. And again, I thought, obviously, they came to the table, they had needs and wants. And we actually asked the town to come and tell them what kind of shape we were in as in a town. They were very responsive to that. It's not a done deal yet because their constituents have to vote on it, which we hope to happen soon. But again, just overall, none of this we wouldn't have gotten to this point without a lot of help. And it was a lot of meetings, but all worthwhile. And Gina, you and John have just been spectacular in helping us through this and supplying us with information and perspective and all good things. So thank you. Thank you very much.
I think the EBEA is planning to vote the second week after school vacation.
Oh, vacation week? Okay. Well, okay, super. So we'll get going on that. I think Kurt was mentioning to me that we need a document from Nick that says, okay, here's what our agreement was. So I'll be talking to him about that. So, thank you. Anything else on budget, John? Are we all set? Oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't have anything else on budget, but I can jump ahead to busing fees.
Yeah, you can do that, sure.
Before you do, I just wanted to add to the love fest of thanking everybody for the hard work on the budget. I think that it's one, recognizing the amount of time that John puts into looking and relooking and looking at numbers and where to find everything, and I think it's just incredible. I've trusted you for 3 years, and if John says numbers are numbers, I'm like, okay, that's what it is. John says it. But also on the school committee side, all of that time, in our non-paid job here, it's an enormous amount of time and I wasn't on that committee this year. I also wasn't on the negotiations one. One might wonder if I did that on purpose. I didn't. But I feel incredibly appreciative to all of you for the hard work that you guys put into that, the amount of meetings that you all had to make this possible and to create that budget that also we could present to the town and feel proud to be part of that collaborative work. I'm just very appreciative to all of you for the time and what you guys did for that. So thank you.
In the spirit of being appreciative, I would be appreciative if we did not have a budget subcommittee on Friday, but I believe we still do have one.
I'm on vacation.
Well, we might.
I don't think we have
I don't think we need one.
I don't think we do. It was, what was the last piece was to having the discussion tonight about busing.
Okay.
But if you want, you still have your cell phone over in Europe.
I'll show up 5 minutes late to it again, I promise you that.
Okay?
I also handed out,
Yep.
before the meeting, we had a lot of discussion about user fees and transportation fees. We have a significant increase in our transportation expense with the bus company. So we did a comparison of how our user fees look compared to other towns. And you can see on the top graph, that is the individual student user fee. And you can see we currently have a user fee of $250. The average of the surrounding towns is $243, and that includes kind of an outlier of Plymouth at $150. So we agreed in the budget subcommittee meeting to not make a change to that individual user fee of $250. In the bottom graph, you have the family cap. We are fairly low compared to other towns. We are at 400. The other town that is lower than us is Pembroke at 325, with the average of the surrounding towns being 484. We had discussed and are looking to propose a $450 family cap. So again, $250 for an individual, but a family cap of $450. That would be an increase of $50.
And I think you, for the whole picture, you want to also put in a late fee?
Yes. We are looking to incorporate an additional $25. So if the fee is paid after June 30th, we're looking at, for an individual student, $275. And if the family cap is paid after June 30th, $475. We're hoping that this may help us entice people to sign up. I don't know if $25 is going to do it, but I can tell you over the last 8 or 9 years doing this, the changes that we make in August and September are, it's frustrating for us, it's frustrating for parents, it's frustrating for the bus company, so I say it every year, but we really mean it this time.
Why not do
We're going to do
incremental late fee, like if they're late a certain amount of days and then
then you have to,
keep track?
Tracking and everything that
Manage
goes
it.
along with it.
we're going to do our best. We've got a really good database this year. We're gonna let people know weekly, you haven't signed up, you haven't signed up. We want these people, we want the families to sign up, so we're not scrambling at the last minute.
John, thank you very much for this. Graphs like this are fantastic for us to be able to share the information with the town. Nobody likes increasing fees on anything. We certainly wish that we didn't have to increase fees on any of the students or any of the services that are provided. The unfortunateness of today's economy is that everything's going up, and much to certain people's thought process, we're doing everything we can to be as fiscally responsible as we possibly can as a school district by not overspending our budget. So thank you for this, truly appreciate it. I think in my short time on the school committee, we've done a phenomenal job from a budgetary standpoint. I just want to thank you and Gina and John, for helping us navigate some challenging times from a budgetary standpoint. And I think we've done a great job, not only this year, but in the past couple of years from a budget standpoint. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Peter. One of the things I would say for the folks at home anyway, anyone chooses to watch, is that we're in a challenging period of time from a town's perspective. And obviously the schools are a big part of the town, big part of our town budget. But because of the challenge with what we have to get caught up with the retirement payments that we have to make to Plymouth County Retirement Board, we're really sort of behind the eight ball, for lack of a better phrase. And with that in mind, we've really had to work hard to get these numbers, get everything where it needed to be for the town. One of the things I just want to share with people that we considered was that in order to keep things as close to normal as we could in the classrooms, one of the things we looked at was perhaps addressing the whole busing scenario and only busing the students that we were legally responsible to bus. Would have saved us a few $100,000 on our budget this year. Luckily, with a lot of hard work, we got around that with making cuts in other areas. But I only bring it up because you may hear more challenges next year when it comes to budget season. So that's something we took a hard look at, but we knew it would be very impactful for lots of families, and we luckily were able to find a way to get it done without doing that, so. So if we could take a motion on the changes that John's proposing?
Motion to increase the family cap from $400, increase it by $50 to $450 for the family cap for FY 2026. What's that? And impose $25 late fees on both the individual user and the family cap if not paid for by June 30th of 2025.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion?
I like the idea that it's increased now. I think we found ourselves in a pickle last year when we looked back at it not being increased, and that was a bigger hit to families, and I feel like I learned a little something from that. It's sometimes if we make these smaller changes, it's just easier to digest. So I get it, asking more money is asking more money, but certainly asking an amount a year, I'm not saying it's happening every year, but asking that certainly lands differently than saying we're upping it by whatever we did last year that caused a lot of feelings.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you very much.
Mr. McKinnon, can I just interrupt for
Yes.
a moment?
I did.
So we just got word that Central School is back up and running.
Oh, wow.
So we're gonna,
Power's on, we don't know
Power's
what's
on.
up and running yet.
Mr. Shea is going to excuse himself so he can work with our IT team to make sure that we get Wi-Fi
Wi-Fi, servers, switches,
Phones.
telephone system, alarm
back
system.
up and running.
Great.
And I'm just going to excuse myself for a moment to send out the Parent Square message letting
Sure.
families know. Thank you.
Okay, but who knows what we'll vote on while you're gone?
Can you unvote something?
Well, I don't know, we can put it under consideration. Kate,
I'm gonna go
are you here for the field trips? Or are you here for another reason?
She's a supportive principal.
Oh, yes, that was something. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Excellent.
That place of magic, what do you guys call it? What is it that, you've always referred to Central School as something. Can't remember what it is. Happy little place or something.
Well, now it's electric, happy little place, we hope. MASC Day on the Hill, you want to talk about this, Ellen?
Sure. I didn't know you were going to make me talk. So Day on the Hill, they have this, MASC has this every single year where the legislators, or they have, not all the legislators, but a select few of the legislators, and they speak and they let us know what's going on in the State House. And also they give us, usually they give us like either a packet or some cards or something for talking points for when we go up to the State House to meet with our local reps. And what, I usually go every single year and I make appointments with our local reps, so that we can meet and talk with them, to let them know what our,
Challenges are?
yes, well, challenges and also what we're advocating for. And also, so when we go, the last couple of years, it hasn't been entirely in the State House, it's been at the, what's that building called? It's like a block down.
Yeah, well, the top floor is the UMass Club, I think.
Yeah, it's in the building, but they have a big room, so we go there, we listen to the legislators, we talk. people from MASC speak. And then we go over to the State House and we have lunch in the Hall of Flags, which is put on by vocational schools, and they do an outstanding job. And then we meet with our local legislators. That's it. Anybody going? I know I'm going. And Gordon, are you going? Even though
I'll go.
it'll be your last one.
Yes, I'll go.
It's always a good time.
Yep.
I'll try.
All right.
One year we were there, we got to go out onto the governor's balcony. Our reps gave us a tour of the Senate side and the House side, and we got to go in different rooms and stuff. It was interesting, because I had never been in there before. And then we got to go out on the governor's balcony from both sides of the Senate and the House.
And that only happened because Mrs. Pennington said, gee, we never got a tour of the building.
I think that was the year.
Did that really? Because I could picture that
Oh,
happening.
yeah, oh, absolutely. Gee, I would like to see it, you know.
I'd
We get
love
into the
to see it.
chambers and all.
In behind, so I don't remember which side of the building this was, the House or the Senate, but you go in this room and they have this round table and it's cut into pie shape around, and it's from the 13 colonies. It's cut into 13 pieces, and there are different shaped pie slices for the size of each of the 13 colonies. And then in that room, there's a door. It's a giant door. And then you go in that door. It doesn't look like where you're going. And then you open up another door, and it leads you to a bathroom. It was very odd. Interesting at the same time.
Well, it's definitely a cool building, I give you that. So,
There was a story behind it, I'm sure.
I know, Gina, I know since you're right there, do we have to do anything except acknowledge that the school physician has resigned? He's retired?
So nothing else, we posted for
Okay.
the position, that was just acknowledging the resignation.
Okay,
I thought we did that one.
all right. And
You didn't do this one. Oh,
I know Mr. Silver had sent out notes from his office about inviting the school committee, will still be on the committee, if you want to take part of, for instance, handing out diplomas, senior scholarship and awards night to do the welcome, and the underclass celebration of accomplishment also needs a welcome. So I don't know if any of the three of you, and of course Amy's not here, we can check with Amy, but those, you know, we need to get back to them and say who's going to be handing out diplomas. That's one of the rights you have as being on the school committee. That might be the only right, but that's a big one.
Is anyone planning on going to graduation this year? I know Amy is. Are you going to graduation?
I likely will.
I have to check my calendar. Sorry.
Oh,
Do you have
actually,
anybody graduating this year?
actually, I can't that night. It's the night of Jocelyn's play at Cappuccini's.
Oh,
Amy's most likely going.
Yeah.
so,
I can do the underclassmen one.
oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay, so underclassmen is Dan. Handing out diplomas, you're going to be there, Ellen?
Yes, I will be. Well, what's the date on it again?
May 30, Friday, May 30.
Yes.
And, I don't know, Peter, you want to do any one of these things?
If I can fill in that 22nd one, I certainly will.
All right, so I'll put a question mark.
Yeah,
You'll let us know?
I will.
Okay, great, and when Amy gets back, I'll ask her if I know she's going to be there because she wants to hand out a diploma to her stepsons, I think, maybe?
Maybe she'll pass out diplomas
Okay.
too. Who knows?
So take care of those. The school subcommittees that have met, budget subcommittee and bargaining subcommittee, and policy committees have all met since our last time we got together. And Ellen or Peter, you want to take us through the policies that need to be updated, updated and approved?
You want to do it?
No, that's yours.
We have, so there was one, so we have the Title IX policies. I tell you,
Oh, they're under the same umbrella. I'll find out.
How about we do this, Ellen? Ready?
I'm just waiting for.
How about we make a, yeah, I know. How about we make a motion to to skip the second reading.
Oh, but I was going to explain one thing first.
Well, we'll get to those ones, because there's two that are going to be, that we'll talk about. So I would do it in two separate parts, maybe?
Sure. Go for it.
So make a motion to forego the second reading so the school committee, the subcommittee on policy met, we went over, reviewed some of these, and then there was one that was left off of the policy subcommittee agenda, so we weren't able to discuss that one. And then there was something with regards to the policy for harassment regarding food that I'll get to in a second. We'll talk about that. But for right now, I'd like to make a motion to forego second reading, first, second reading, and we pass as a block, school committee policy ACR for non-discrimination policy, including harassment and retaliation, ACA, non-discrimination on the basis of sex, ACA-R, non-discrimination on the basis of sex under Title IX, including sex-based harassment, ACAB, sexual and sex-based harassment and retaliation, and ACGA, civil rights grievance procedure, ACGB, Title IX, sexual discrimination grievance procedure.
So those Title IX policies, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we have to, MASC came out with something, a notification, saying that we have to follow federal mass general law. They're being rolled back. The Title IX policies are being rolled back. So we have to roll, we had voted to change them, and now we have to roll them back.
They're being reverted.
Yes,
And we had already voted to change them.
yes,
Now we're reverting them back to what
Yes.
we changed them from.
yes.
Okay.
So that was
Yep.
discussed at the subcommittee on policy, and we agreed that that was the proper thing to do.
Yes.
So your motion was to waive the second reading of the ones that you've
The
listed?
ones that I just listed,
Mm-hmm.
yep,
And approve, you said, right?
and approve.
And there's two on that list that you haven't talked about.
There's two that we'll
Okay.
On
get to
purpose, yep.
separately.
Okay.
Because we believe that there probably needs to be discussion regarding those ones.
Okay,
Just a 30-second discussion.
all right.
I second Peter's motion.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passed, those all pass.
Okay, so the first one, which was AC, had a
In
an
addition,
additional
Line.
line item that was not included in the revert, that, from what we're understanding, we need to help close out something for food services.
Yes.
So that we're in compliance
so
under,
they're getting, food services is being audited right now. And so someone from DESI said that we needed to add something to the policy that says that the student may not be discriminated against for requiring a meal modification. And we are, so far, the very first school committee that has been found with this, they call it a finding. When I contacted MASC, they were not aware of this, and so there are no other school committees that I'm aware of that, or school districts that I'm aware of that have this addition to their policy. So MASC is working on their own revising the policy, but we've decided to just add this as a bullet number 7.
and that bullet reads, again, if you need it. So it's an additional one after number 6, and it's students may not be discriminated against for requiring meal modifications.
Great, okay,
That will bring us into compliance.
all right. And
Want to
is,
vote on that one separately, and then we'll go to the next one?
Sure.
oh, next one, sure, okay. So, wanna-
Motion to, I don't know,
Approve the revert
approve,
back.
revert back, including line number 7,
Yes,
Do you have to waive second reading as well?
yes.
and with the second reading.
And waive the second reading, he said.
okay. Did you second?
Yes, second.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That one's done, okay. Now the last one,
And then ACE also needs to revert back. It was just omitted. It was omitted from from our little subcommittee meeting. That was an oversight.
I'm sorry, can you
So ACE is, so we're reverting back to the MASC
Yep.
version, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So I don't know if there's any need, or if people need to take a second to read this and understand that it's reverting back to the MASC version or not.
Is this the one that you guys said you didn't get to discuss because it was omitted from your? Okay, thanks, all right.
All right?
I don't have any questions about that.
Yep. Do we want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve policy ACE, non-discrimination on the basis of disability, and waive the second reading.
Yep, to the MASC reverted version.
Okay. Do we need a second?
Second.
And any other discussion? Otherwise, all in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay. Move into our action items.
Hold on.
Yes?
Do we need to go back to anything?
Oh, well, John's not here. One of the
Oh, right.
questions that, based on the agenda, Gina, when it's referencing the review for fees for busing, the last line item on the first page, it said busing preschool Little Vikings extracurricular activities. Are they all under that umbrella, or do we have others? We don't charge separate for the other ones, do we?
Yeah.
Yes.
We do.
We do.
Yes, so preschool was voted on, was that back in January?
Yeah, that was earlier.
November, that long ago. So we weren't going to revisit that one because
Okay.
those applications have already come back, placements have been made. Little Vikings falls under our before and after care program. I believe she has already gone through the increase. That has already gone out. Those catalogs had already gone out. As far as extracurricular, I think that was like the athletics that we were still holding on at this point in time. But Mr. Shea will be coming back with information as far as fees that surrounding towns have set, similar to the busing, for the reconsideration of the committee.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That satisfy what you were looking for?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we covered all of it.
Okay. We already did this one. We already took the action appointing Dr. Williams as interim. And we're already in motion to make that permanent. So that's what our executive session is going to be after our meeting right now. The action is required by the school committee on the out-of-state field trip requested by Mrs. Kate Burns, Central School Principal, to Roger Williams Zoo, Providence, Rhode Island, on May 30. I think that and the other, next one we're going to deal with, they're in your packet. I know we've done this in all the years that I can remember, right? Both of these, actually, this one that we're talking about now, going to the Roger Williams Zoo for grade 2, and then the Biomes Marine Biology Center for grade 1. So the grade 2, any, can we take a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
Great. Any discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Next up is the action required, the out-of-state field trip for Mrs. Kate Burns, Central School Principal, to the Biomes Marine Biology Center in North Kingstown, Rhode Island, May 14th and May 15th, and that is for grade 1.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Great, also passes.
Make sure parents prepare their backs for that bus ride. Those rides down to Rhode Island, they hit different in your 40s.
They do.
Yeah, they don't land the same.
I did do it.
Worth every minute with those little kids in these locations. So adorable. But protect your back.
Action is required to approve the request of EBG, East Bridgewater Junior Senior High School teacher Marie Principe to hand her graduating son his diploma upon graduation of the class of 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Same request, school committee member Miss Amy Berry to hand her stepsons.
Amy didn't need, unless she's coming down from the stands or something, she doesn't need permission. I mean, it depends on.
We don't know what she's doing, though, so we'll.
I know, so we'll give her permission, no matter what she's doing, we think. Hand her stepsons their diplomas. Well, she has stepsons, I imagine they're twins?
Twins.
Oh, okay, I was going to say. Their diplomas upon graduation, the class of 25 graduation.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And we hope Amy feels better, that's for sure. And let's see, we have a few more action items. Action required to approve the request of East Bridgewater Junior Senior High teacher, Mr. Zach Smith, to hand his graduating sister her diploma at the graduation class of 25.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Action, I got to ask what Big Joe is, but that's okay. Action is required on accepting donation from the Kiwanis Club of East Bridgewater for sponsoring for Big Joe puppet storytelling, I didn't see that, okay. Shows for Central School students for 30 copies of books, Raisin in the Sun and Poet X, materials enclosed.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have to come to the
was
Big
very
Joe.
nice
Have to
of
let
the
me know when that is. I'll have to come to
You miss Big Joe.
Material?
Big Joe's already come.
Oh, he's already come and gone?
He has.
And we're just voting to pay for him now? Oh, Big Joe's kind.
Funding that was going to come out of the student activities account, but because the Kiwanis so generously offered to fund that, it will replenish the funds back into Central School's activities account.
Okay.
So,
Well, was Big Joe a hit, Kate?
Big Joe was wonderful. He did 4 folk tales from 4 different countries around the world. Pre-K had their own show, kindergarten, first grade, second grade. It was a great day.
Wow, okay.
We're very grateful for the donation.
Great, thank you very much. And
you to the
thank the
Kiwanis.
Kiwanis.
Yes.
Action is required after review payroll warrants 37 PS dated 3/12/25, 39 PS dated 3/26/25.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
And one abstain. You have that, Lynn, right? Action is required after review on accounts payable warrants SW 38 dated 3/19/25 and 40V dated 4/2/25.
So moved.
Second?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And action required to approve the December 17, 2024, January 21, 25, February 18, 25, March 18, 25, school committee meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And by the way, thank you, Lynn. You must take down every word. It's amazing to me. Maybe you could do a little bit more of a shorthand and save your carpal tunnel problem. So at our next meeting, which is May 6th, Central School and Middle School will have their school handbooks. Is that right? At least for the Central School?
and Mitchell.
And Mitchell will be here? Okay. And we're not going to have, we're going to wait on the finance workshop talked by MASC until we have new members on the board, and then you folks can vote when you can have that workshop. But in the interim, we would, I would adjourn this meeting to make a motion to enter executive session to pursuant Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, following purpose, and not to return to open session. Purpose 2, negotiations with non-union personnel.
So moved.
Second.
We have to do roll call? Pennington, aye.
Hold on a second, please. Oh. Sorry, I'm just looking something up about.
Can't discuss what?
Sorry, I'm just looking something up. There's language that we just needed from our attorney on something, and it's in here. Apologies.
That's okay. I just want to let you know that once I retire from the school committee, I'm going to work in Nick's office because because I feel like I'm there
You
now.
need both. This part right here.
Okay.
An open meeting may have a
But I think that's it. That was, we were going to discuss that, but we're not going to.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, gotcha.
So,
Thank you, carry on.
Okay, we're all set. So we've got a
Pennington, aye.
motion, a second, and we take a roll call vote? Sorry?
Pennington, aye.
Okay.
We're not doing alphabetical anymore.
It's out the window.
No.
Well, Amy's on her way to Ireland.
Fiddler, aye.
McKinnon, aye.
Fury, aye.
Pika, aye.
Okay.
And then you're supposed to say, and now the, blah, blah, blah. You're supposed to repeat it.
You want to do that for me, Ellen?
No, and now we're going to meet in executive
you.
session per MGL Chapter
Okay.
38, Section 21A for the following purposes, not to return to open session.
There you go. That's what I was going to say.
Negotiations with non-union.
Read my mind.
Congratulations, Gina.
Yes,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
Congrats, Gina.
Congratulations, Gina.
Thank you for your.